Gavel down, you know what time that means? It means it's court case time. And this week, this is a subject that means a lot to my heart because yes, I'm an Orlando Magic fan, but the 305 is a very special place to me. Miami Heat are top of the East. There's no two ways about it. But a very disappointing defeat last night to Philadelphia has had me creating some questions. Some people would label it just game number 72 in the regular season. However, I think it's a little bit deeper than that. The Heat ranked 26th in clutch offense and 13th in half-court points per offensive possessions. I start to think about the playoffs, and maybe there's a weakness there because when the game gets a little bit slower and the rotations get a little bit less deep, I simply do not believe the Miami Heat have the ability to score against some of these playoff defenses, which means effectively we could be looking at an early exit for the Heat this year. BJ, how do you feel about this one?
I think Miami has a really good team for the playoffs. I really like their team. I like their experience. I like their roster. I like their depth. And I think this team is really probably the way they are currently constructed. I think they are a better team for the playoffs than they are for the regular season. You know, Tyler Hero is playing excellent. So I think they have a player that's coming off the bench that perhaps has probably been their best player throughout the course of the regular season. So I think this team will advance. I think they are prepared. But more importantly, I think they have the experience to really go deep in the playoffs. And I would really be shocked if they don't advance to at least to the, conference finals this year, the way they are currently constructed.
I like that. So BJ's really giving me opposition straight away. Mo, matchups in the playoffs could be everything. If I say to you, maybe potentially the Brooklyn Nets could be a first round matchup. If I say to you, potentially the Boston Celtics could be a second round matchup. How far is this Miami Heat team going?
Now, I can't give you an answer to that because it depends on one thing. I agree with BJ. They've got a team that is built for the playoffs. I love what they did in the offseason, getting Kyle Lowry, PJ as a proven playoff veterans who bring an intensity on the defensive end, which I think is very important, and they know their role on offense. My question is, when it comes to winning NBA championships, throughout the course of recent history, we see that guy step up, whether it's LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard. My question is, who's going to be that guy for the Miami Heat? Does Jimmy Butler still have enough in the tank to deliver what he delivered in the NBA bubble? Because I haven't seen that from him so far consistently throughout this season. That's my only question mark, is who's going to be the star that steps up? Is it going to be Tyler Hero coming off the bench? Can he be that guy, or will he be underwhelming and kind of disappoint because of lack of experience in these big, important moments? Because we do see some instances where he's fantastic and he's had an amazing season, definitely sixth man of the year, but there have been a few games where you've looked at it and thought, well, the Miami Heat would have won that game had Hero delivered what he usually delivers. So much depends on his performance. I'm not sure who the superstar is going to be for the Miami Heat that steps up. I would love if Jimmy Butler could bring back how he performed in the bubble and perform to that level, because I think their squad is even stronger now. But that is my question mark. When you look at the NBA and you see the Kevin Durant's of the world, in Luka Doncic of the world, who's going to be going to be able to trade buckets and go head-to-head down the stretch with those big-time scorers?
So Mo, I'll put you under some more pressure here. I need to know, do you agree that Miami could be looking at an early exit here without that guy, as you quoted?
Honestly, I don't think so. I don't see the Miami Heat losing in round one. If they do draw Brooklyn and Kevin Durant goes absolutely supernova, then that's something else. But to win 4 games out of 7 against the Miami Heat, who are a very, very tough out. They play with a very strong identity, strong culture. They play great defense. They're constantly moving, closing out to shooters, making life tough on them. Bam Adebayo has had a defense player of the year case this year with the way in which he's been playing, and they just have a toughness about them. I don't see them going home in round one. However, we have seen them in the playoffs previously against the Milwaukee Bucks last year lose at that first hurdle because Jimmy Butler was shooting an extremely low percentage and they couldn't step up on the offensive side of the ball, and they had no solution for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Thankfully for them, they've played well enough throughout the regular season. They won't be facing Giannis Antetokounmpo in the first round, so I think they can get through to the conference semifinals.
BJ, how do you respond to Mo's comment about Miami not having that guy when it gets deep into the playoffs in those clutch moments? I mean, the numbers are there to suggest what Mo just said is true. But how do you feel about what Miami can do this year?
Well, I think the easiest thing
Embrace.
when we look at teams, we look at their superstar player and we expect those superstar players. We're talking in particular about Kevin Durant, Giannis, Joel Embiid, so forth and so on. But when you look at this team, the Miami Heat, they are a superstar team by committee. One night it could be Jimmy Butler. Another night it could be Bam. Another night it could be Tyler Hero. Another night it could be Kyle Lowry. So I like the fact that this team is a very, they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of experience, but more importantly, they have veteran players who know and will respond to big situations and big games. So, you never know where you're going to get those level of contributions. It's great to have a star player like a Kevin Durant because he clearly gives you an advantage. But when you have players like this, Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Bam, Tyler Hero, all of those guys are capable of getting 30 or more points in a playoff game. All of those players are very capable of playing and responding in high pressure situations. So I like the way they're built. I like the way that they have poise. And more importantly, I think they will be prepared for the moment. So even though they may not have the best player on the floor, certainly they will have a more than formidable team that can perform in big moments.
The game last night, I thought to myself, this is something that we needed to address. But you see how bring my boys up on the screen right now, real quick. Yeah? See what you guys have done to me? This is a smile of a gentleman who now believes again that we could be in the 305 this summer. You hear that? One more time. I would say, this is a smile of a gentleman that does believe we could be down in South Beach this summer for the NBA Finals.
JD, you were dressed like you're ready for South Beach on Sunday show. I see you come in the studio with a big polo.
JD Pablo was in full effect. So according to my guys, I will concede and turn around and say that I have changed my mind. And I feel like the eye test that we have seen from the Miami Heat throughout this whole season is enough. And as BJ said, maybe this team is built better for the playoffs than they have been more recent years. We've already seen them go to an NBA Finals recently. So Heat will make a run, hopefully, to end this season.